Welcome to the Ingress Insights podcast, hosted by PkmnTrainerJ. Ingress Insights is a podcast about the Niantic game Ingress. Listen each week for the latest news, updates and rumours. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a voice message or emailing us at the links in the show notes.
Additional intel available.
Hey agents, I just want to talk about Recon and Wayfarer and some confusion that there might have been for a little while, so just do bear with me whilst I go through that. Apologies, I might swear on this bit, but I'll mark it if I do so. So a few months back it was announced that Scopely were purchasing some of Niantic's games. They did not purchase Ingress or Peridot. However, the purchase did also include a Niantic Campfire and Niantic Wayfarer. Previously, Ingress Agents and Pokemon Go trainers nominated from their games, and these got reviewed in Wayfarer and then went live on the Ingress and Pokemon Go maps and other Niantic game maps if they met the inclusion criteria for the game. So they wouldn't necessarily show up in every game. They'd have to meet the inclusion criteria, which for Ingress is being 20 meters away from an existing portal. Scopely closed the deal in May 29th, 2025. So that meant that following that date, things didn't sync to the Ingress map that were accepted in Wayfarer. So even if you nominated them before that date and before the final sync happened, they just didn't get added to the map. They were only added to Pokemon Go and the other now Scopely owned game maps. So as an Ingress agent, should you give a shit about Wayfarer, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. If you play the other games, such as Pokemon Go, Monster Hunter Now, Pikmin Bloom, then yes, because you'll have to nominate at the moment from Pokemon Go. That's the only game with Wayfarer nomination capabilities. And once nominated there, if accepted, it again will go onto the map if it meets game inclusion rules. But even if you nominate it in Pokemon Go and it gets accepted, it will not sync to the Ingress map. Those are now separate maps with separate databases. For Ingress, we have Niantic Spatial Recon. That was announced in May as well. Present as of the 26th of July 2025, Ingress agents can nominate new portal nominations, make edits, photos, and location edits, anything like that. You'll receive an email once you've done that to confirm it's in the system. However, they aren't being reviewed at the moment. Agents can't access system review like they could in Wayfarer. We don't yet know when it's coming, whether it'll be Q3, Q4 next year. I think there needs to be some backlog built up so that agents can review without getting to the end. Whether we'll get things like OPR Live or Recon challenges, things like that, who knows whether they'll happen. The Ingress team is a lot smaller than the Pokemon Go and presumably Wayfarer team. If you visit the Recon site, at the moment it just says, "Stand by, Scout, your mission will begin soon." There are some help pages for Recon, which are mostly copied from the Wayfarer side, just with some details changed. I noticed there's two glaring differences on there so far. So there's no mention of a Recon community forum like we have for a Wayfarer community forum. So I don't know what the plan is and where you go. If there's issues with it, things you need to appeal, whether appeals are even going to be a thing. There's also no mention of upgrades. So within Wayfarer, when you review a certain amount and reach a certain amount of agreements, you get an upgrade, which you can use to then push your nomination to be reviewed a bit quicker through the system. It goes out to a wider net of reviewers. That's not mentioned, as I said, on Recon. So whether it's planned to have or whether it'll just be everything going through as normal. I know in previous times when I was using OPR, which came before Wayfarer, it took ages. Reporters in London took like 2 years for portal nominations to get through. Hopefully we don't go back to that, but I can't think it's going to be as quick a turnaround as the Wayfarer system has been for Pokemon Go recently. There's just a larger volume of people reviewing. So in summary, if you only care about Ingress, just don't submit on Wayfarer and Pokemon Go. That doesn't matter to you now. It's just Recon that matters, and you can submit things on the system at the moment. They do need to be fully typed up and ready to go. You can't put things on hold. There's no system to log on to put them on hold at the moment. As I said, it may change, but if you only do Ingress, it's just probably best to consider Wayfarer is dead to you for now. That's all. I just want to cover Wayfarer a little bit, but if you've got any questions on Wayfarer or Recon, anything like that, I may be able to answer. Let me know, leave a comment, and see what I can find out. I can dig around in the Recon help section, see if I've missed anything on there. Thank you, agents, for listening to the latest episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. If you'd like to help the podcast out, you can do that in a few ways. So, first of all, rating the podcast on the podcast service you're listening to is always a great help, as well as leaving any comments on YouTube or Spotify if you're able to do that if you're listening on those channels. Ingress Insights also has a merch store over at tpublic.com/user/ingress-insights, where you can pick up badges and pins and t-shirts with the Ingress Insights logo on, and a few other little bits. There's also the Ko-fi store page, which has previous episodes of the podcast if you want to download those. They'll be out in batches over the next few months. You can also follow us on social media. So the main one we use is Instagram, which is under the name ingress.insights. And we also have a Blue Sky and a Threads, which you can find linked on the show notes to follow on there. If you have any feedback or episodes you'd like to see, or bonus episodes, things you want to cover, or you want to come on and chat about your experience playing Ingress, do let me know. You can contact us via email as well. And the email address is just ingressinsights@gmail.com. So you can send us anything there, voice messages, things you want me to discuss in future episodes, or anything you think I've missed and need to cover next time. Thank you again for listening, agents. Hope you have a great day and happy hacking.
Intel package transferred.